Today we're going to be doing a spin on the classic sandwich, the Philly cheesesteak. Now what we're going to be doing is, instead of that big hoagie that's usually there, we're going to be doing a nice breading that goes around the sandwich, so when you bite into it you still get that nice crunch, you still get that nice fluff of the bread, but you don't have all that cumbersome bread getting in the way of that delicious tasting meat and cheese.
Alright, so for the beef, I'm going to use Vincent Giordano's premium roast beef. This stuff is awesome. I only recommend using this. A friend told me about this, and I'll tell you what, I have a new best friend. For the cheese, I'm going to be using provolone, and for the vegetables, I'm going to be using mushrooms and onions. For the bread, we're going to be using a dough that we're going to fry later on. You can find this, it's in the frozen food section, and you just let it sit out for about 3 hours and thaw. Alright, let's get started here. You're going to pull the stems out of the mushrooms. Once you've done that, just go ahead and slice them. For the onions, peel off the skin, take the tops off, I already have that done, and then just cut right down the side along with the rings. Once you have them cut down nice and thin, just quarter them. For the cheese, if you don't have it already sliced, go ahead and slice it just to about this thickness like I have. Now quarter these off, just like so. For the meat, we don't really have to do much. The people down at Vincent Giordano already did most of the work for us. All we're doing is pretty much just ripping into tiny shreds. That way when you bite into it, you don't have these long pieces in there and it just pulls right apart. Alright, we have the vegetables all cut up and we're going to go ahead and start cooking them now. I'm going to toss them into the pan, have it on a medium-low heat, and just let it sit there and simmer, stirring every once in a while. Now that the veggies are done and caramelized, take those off the heat. We're going to go ahead and start assembling the sandwich now. Cut a piece of the dough off and stretch it out. Once you have that done, place some cheese on. You can put a little or a lot depending on how much you want. Now grab a nice amount of meat and just place it on there. You don't have to be stingy. Let's take our nice caramelized onions and mushrooms and just add those right on top. Once you have the veggies on, place a second amount of cheese on top of those. Now that we have all the toppings in here, we can cut another piece of the dough off, stretch it out the same as before, place it on top, and once you do that, just pinch the corners and the sides so that there's no air getting through. Once your sandwich is all sealed up, you can drop it into the deep fryer. I have my oil set at about 400 degrees. That's what I recommend for when you're cooking these. After about a couple minutes, they'll start to turn a nice golden color. You can see the difference between this one and the ones that I just dropped in a little bit ago. When they're all done frying, just pull them out and let them set for a little bit to cool down. Then all that's left to do is enjoy.